Morning, folks. So last video, maybe the one before, I guess, the one with where the fur buyer came, I had a lot of questions about fur market prices and different things. I try to answer all the comments and things. I mean, you guys took the time to write. I think it's kind of rude not to try to write back. It gets hard, though. I mean, there's a lot of them. But a lot of times when if I say reply to yours and you reply back, I don't see those ones. So if I answer back on those, that's the reason why. But I try. Anyway, lots and lots of questions about the fur market. And the thing that, starting to hail. Wonderful. I need to get a tarp for that tent. Anyway, the thing that people don't understand with the fur market is when I read the prices in some of these magazines and things, not every single one is going to go for that price. With fur, you go to the grocery store or something and the price is the price. It doesn't matter, what it is. You might have different name brand or something like that varies in price a little bit, but that is the price you're going to pay. With fur, a lot depends on the quality. It depends on the color. Depends on the way it was handled. If your skinning looks like you did it with a chainsaw and you got big holes all over it, you can take a high dollar fur and make it worthless really fast. Color, coyotes and things, the fur market right now is looking for pale coyotes. That one I had that only brought $10, the reason it brought so little is it just wasn't a very good coyote. The hair wasn't really long. It was kind of dull in color, flat looking, and it had a lot of brown in it. That's just not what they're looking for. And it had been shot also. The neighbor across the highway here gave it to me. He shot it out in his hayfield, and I sewed that hole up. The holes matter, but if you sew them up, you can kind of fix that. They don't ding you too bad on the price most of the time. But it had been shot, which is not what they're looking for. And like I said, it just wasn't. It wasn't a pretty coyote. It just wasn't the high dollar one. Even if the going price, basically, I shouldn't say going price because there is no such thing, but the average price, say, is $100 a few years ago, that coyote at best would have brought $20 or $30. It wasn't a good one. But my muskrats and things, 2 of those, I had 16. And 2 of those, something had chewed on, whether it was other muskrats or a mink or might have been that raccoon. But we don't seem to have a lot of mink here. Over the years, I've caught very few, and I should be catching more if they were here in any numbers. But anyway, I'll read a couple of these here quick. These are 2 different magazines. They're both from the March issue. This one's kind of talking about after sale prices, and this one's kind of before sale prices. Both of them are from March. This one, let's see, where did I see it? Muskrats. It says, the muskrat market has been a disappointment. The world is awash with cheap brown ranched mink, and until these are used up, don't expect much movement on rats. Some dealers are quoting $2 tops, others $3, while others don't want them at all. Fur harvesters have hundreds of thousands of muskrats in storage. So let's see how they do later this month. Okay, this one, muskrats. I've been hearing rumors of some buyers in the country with large rat orders. So that's a plus. For the most part, I've seen Midwest averages in the range of $2.50. The Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association had a sale in December. In that sale, there were 1,498 finished rats that saw $6 high and an average of $2.51. So $6 high. That means at least one sold for $6. That isn't the price you're going to get. The average was $2.51. So some of these muskrats probably sold for 25 cents. It's an average. You got $6 high, you got very little low, and whatever the middle is. They also had 146 rats in the grease, average $2.45. I don't know what that means. I've never heard that term, in the grease, with muskrats. A dried muskrat, they're really oily or really greasy. Same with beaver and raccoons, skunks, a lot of those. I don't know what they mean when they say in the grease, because up above it says a finished muskrat. Well, finished, they're greasy, so I don't know what that term actually means. Anyway, that's the muskrat deal. $2 for my muskrats, with 2 of them with holes in them, was right in there. That's pretty fair price, really. I mean, considering the market. And the reason the market is so low right now has a lot to do with world politics. It has a lot to do with fashion. We got trade sanctions on Russia. Russia is one of the top buyers in the world. I think China is the highest, and then Russia's next in line. So that cuts down a lot of the market, and that lowers prices. If you have nobody competing against you, you can buy things dirt cheap. Go to any auction, it's the same way. The United States, a little while back, I was reading some of those old fur prices from the 100 years ago, or the 20s, the 50s, somewhere in there, 1920s, 1950s. Back then, fur was in style. All the movie stores wore it. All the ladies, they all had fur coats, and every housewife wanted one, and a lot of them couldn't afford it, but they could at least afford one of those mink scarf type things, stole or something they call it. And fur was high fashion. Everybody wanted it. The prices were good. Now we get the rise of people like PETA and Defenders of Wildlife and all these anti-fur groups that have kind of ruined that. They, for a while there, I haven't heard of any for a long time, but for a while there, people were getting their coats spray painted in public places, and after a while, people just quit buying it. They quit wearing it. And the United States market is still there. We have some fur, but it's not a big amount. Not at all. So I really doubt that the prices are ever going to come up that much again. It's just change in fashion. Canada Goose. Canada Goose was a company that was the biggest reason, in fact they were the reason, coyote prices in the last few years have been around $100 a piece. And again, that's not for every coyote. That is for the very best. Most of them are probably going to average around 50, 60, 80 maybe if you're lucky. But $100, you read $100. Why? I can shoot every coyote in the county and make a lot of money. It doesn't work that way. Anyway, the Canada Goose, they were making high dollar coats and parkas, like an Eskimo style parka. That's something else. I'm going to get derailed here. But to a lot of the native people in Alaska and Canada and Greenland and all the north areas, Eskimo is kind of an insult, because they're not all Eskimo. That's just one tribe, and to call a Tlingit or something an Eskimo is an insult to them. But when you think of those people, that's what everybody calls them, is Eskimos. But it ain't really a very fair thing to be calling them. But anyway, like I say, I'm getting derailed. But those fur-lined hoods that they wear, most of their coats are made out of sealskin or caribou, and actually most of their parka hoods, that fur on there, is Wolverine, because Wolverine is one of the few furs that moisture from your breath doesn't turn to ice on. It doesn't collect and turn into a big old ice ball around your head. And when you look at if you ever seen a real one of those parkas, with our type of hoods, the hood only comes up, like here. It's just not. It doesn't cover very much of your head. It just comes up kind of like a hooded sweatshirt. With one of those, it's like looking out of a tunnel. They come way in front of your face. I mean, way out here, so that they can snug them down and have a tiny little hole that's fur-lined that they're actually looking through. And that traps the heat in there. When it's 30, 40 below with a wind chill, making it 100 below, exposed skin will freeze in almost instantly. And you can't have that. So that big long tunnel hood with the fur isn't designed for warmth. That's to block the snow from blowing in on your face is bad. Block the snow and wind when you can still see through it. But with our, with the, probably get in trouble for this, but basically white man's parkas, and by that I mean any race other than Eskimo or those people, our parkas are like hooded sweatshirts. It's just style, really. I mean, the fur looks good. It doesn't matter. Most of those are coyote, some are wolf, some of them are even red fox. I've seen that, but it's just kind of show. So the big coat company, this Canada Goose, they kind of caved to the antis, and it might be partly because the style left too, but they quit using real fur. So that brought the $100 coyotes way down, way down. Nobody wants them. That was the biggest buyer that they were going to. And so changes in fashion matter a whole lot. And now Canada Goose is using either fake fur on some of them or recycled fur from other things like old fur coats and things like that. So they're not buying anymore. That really hurt us. Like I say, sanctions on Russia, that really hurt us. PETA, that really hurt us. There is just a whole lot of factors that play into this. It's not what people think it is. Let's see, on this one, the Fur Fish and Game, their coyote prices, where'd it go? I don't even see it. There it is, coyotes. Do you buy coyotes? That's a melody fur buyers know well. A few buyers are talking on some of the big pale or extra pale highline Montana types in the $30 to $40 range. Again, that's for the very best. A few years ago, the very best were $100 or more. Western skins with some puff and colored bellies are finding offers of $10 to $15 on better goods. I'm lucky to have got $10 on that coyote I had. It just wasn't a good coyote. Producers are shocked with the $8 to $12 offers on many skins. I had a guy in the comments say, well, I don't understand. We just came from first sale and our coyotes sold for $32 average. Well, that's really good right now. You did really well. I'm happy for you, but that's not, don't expect that. That's not what they're selling for. They really aren't. Some sales are better than others, and it varies all the time. Right now, when these magazines were written, this was the prices pretty much then. A month from now, or even next sale, they could be better, they could be a lot worse. It just varies. You can't, it's a very, I guess they call it volatile market. On this one, valuations on coyotes were set low internationally last season to move existing inventory. However, there seems to be a little interest today, especially in Western sanctions. This will play out in March in North Bay. An average of $12.76 was achieved in Michigan, while Iowa saw an average of $12.99. Palmyra, which somewhere in here talks about Palmyra, Maine. That's a town, I guess. Let's see. Palmyra had a handful of skins average $10.50. So, like this said, a handful of skins average that. Some are going to be $20, some of them are going to be $2. You know, it just, like I say, anyhow, it's, hopefully you get the idea. It's not what people think. You're definitely not going to get rich trapping today. What I enjoy the most about trapping is that on a miserable day where the snow is blowing sideways and it's 20 below and it's horrible outside and I don't want to go, I have traps to check and I have to go. I have to do it by law, and it's morally the right thing to do too, being that there could be an animal waiting for me out there in a trap. I can't just leave him there. I gotta go. And so it forces me to get out there on a day that is absolutely miserable, that I would rather stay inside and do something else. And once I do get out there, I have a good time. I really enjoy the adventure of this. The money, I mean, everybody wants money today. Unfortunately, that's what we all kind of have to have, but there's a lot more to life than money. You know, adventure is a big one to me. My dad, he had a good job, he had good retirement, he had 4 kids, he had a house, he didn't smoke, he didn't drink very much. He played by the rules, did everything right, and he got cancer and he died at 40 years old. You just never know. Today, I mean, I could turn this camera off and drop dead from a heart attack for all I know. You just never know what today is going to bring, what tomorrow's going to bring. You need to get out there and enjoy your life. And to me, life is about adventure, and trapping takes me there. I could go up in the woods without having traps. I could go up there and do the things that I'm doing now without running traps, but I probably wouldn't. It costs too much money to go. The gas is high, and it's awful nice up here by the fire. I'd be probably in the long run a lot better off if I stayed home, because I'd do more leather work in the winter and make more money and spend less. But that's, the adventure isn't there sitting by the wood stove. Anyway, this is probably long and boring, and you're probably sick of it by now, but I hope you'll have a great day and get outside, do something fun. Don't sit in the house, folks. That's not living. You know, you gotta work, you gotta make a living, but you don't live to work, you work to live. Don't ever forget that. See ya.